Hi, I'm Allison from Special Fork. For special occasions and holidays, I love to make decorated sugar cookies. They're really easy to do and they look beautiful on a platter. Today I'm going to show you how you can do it with a couple ways to decorate. So first thing to do, I made some sugar cookie dough last night. I like to make it the night before and put it in the fridge so it's nice and chilled, and then take it out a little bit before I'm going to roll so it softens up. You want to have a really nicely floured surface. The dough is a little sticky, so any kind of dough will be. So you want to make sure you get some flour on your board. I'm going to unwrap my disc of dough here, lay it down, and then I'm going to put a little bit more flour on the top. Just kind of brush it around here. And you can always brush off any excess after the fact. You also want to get a little flour on your actual rolling pin. And a nice long one like this is great for dough. Then you just kind of start going gently. You want to see, you kind of want to get a feel for how the dough is. And then I rotate it like this pretty regularly. It kind of comes from when I make pie dough, because I'm always trying there to get a perfect circle. Here I'm just trying to get a nice even thickness on my dough and make sure that I don't get any parts that are a little too thin or even too thick. And it's perfect temperature. You just kind of have to be gentle, but you're going to keep moving it. The flour is going to stay underneath there and give us a nice, easy dough to work with when we want to take our cookies off of the cutting board. So you're aiming for about 1/4 of an inch, and you don't need to do any sort of rulers in this case. I just usually kind of bend down and like to eyeball it. And if the cookies are a little bit thicker, they're just going to take a little bit longer to bake. So once I have them rolled out, I'm going to take my cookie cutters, and I've got ones for different holidays. I have a Christmas tree here. I like to dip the cookie cutter right in the flour, because then it's going to help with the dough, just in case it's a little sticky still. Go like that, shake it, and sometimes it'll kind of help you and it'll come right out. I like to put them on the sheet right away. I have a baking sheet with parchment paper here. And then I'll do a heart, maybe for Valentine's Day. Put that in there, jiggle just a little bit to shake it out. Put it right on my cookie sheet. And I'm just going to continue on with different shapes. I've got a flower. That's a great springtime or Easter cookie cutter. And a turkey for Thanksgiving. I have one more to do now that I've kind of used every square inch of this I could for right now. So put this last cookie over there, and then you don't want to waste this dough. What we can do now is brush away this excess flour. We need the flour to roll out the dough, but I try also not to incorporate too much of it in and make the dough tough. So I'm going to kind of pull all my scraps together. They're still pretty soft. Just kind of work them back into a little bit of a ball. And you might be able to do this once, and then when you do it the second time, you might have to put the dough back in the fridge to chill again. But I think I can get away with making this into a nice ball and then quickly re-rolling it to cut out more cookies. And we should be able to use up almost all of it so that you can get a couple trays of cookies out of each batch. So I'll put a little bit more flour back down because it's still going to be sticky. And then a little bit on top. Just use some that I already have out here. And then just kind of gently go through and re-roll the dough. It's pretty easy, and it's a great way to use it all up. And like I said, if it seems too soft, just put it in the fridge and let it chill up again before you want to re-roll it. The other trick you can do with your cookies, if you want to really make sure that they keep their shape, or if the dough feels a little soft, is put them in the fridge for about 10 or 15 minutes before you bake them. And then that way they will be nice and firm and keep their shape. So I think that's about as big as I'm going to get to keep the same thickness. Maybe do one more little roll here. And then I'm just going to do the same process and go back into my flour and start cutting out the cookies again to put on my cookie sheet. Now that I have all my cookies cut out, I'm going to take an egg white that I whipped pretty quickly with a fork just to kind of make it a little frothy. And the egg white's going to work as my glue. I'm going to brush gently on each of the cookies, and I'll probably do one row at a time so that I can do the sprinkles and then move on to the next. I don't want the egg white to dry. So not just yet. So do that, and then for these Christmas trees, I'm going to do some green sprinkles and just kind of gently sprinkle it down. You're going to get some on the rest of the cookie sheet. That's pretty much inevitable, but just get as much coverage as you want to get on the cookie. And then I'll move on to the next. Next I've got some hearts. So I'll just brush these pretty quick. And this is definitely a fun thing that kids can do. I know that they like to get their hands dirty, so they'd love to get into these sprinkles and do some red hearts. And these will just stick right on there and then bake up. And if you get a little clump like that, just pick it right up. Put a little bit more on. And then I'll move on to some flowers. And then I'm just going to throw these in the oven and bake them until they're golden on the edges. For more recipes and ideas on your smartphone, go to specialfork.com.